What's going on YouTube? Today we got 10 reasons why LeBron James will never be as great as Michael Jordan, man. Let's get into it, man. They gotta hear him saying. Last reaction will be at the end of the video. Stay tuned.
Guys, welcome back to the channel, and today I am back with a video.
What's good, Uncut? What's good, Uncut?
Talking about two of the greatest players of all time.
I definitely fuck with your videos, but sometimes you be talking crazy on my boy
Michael
Bron.
Jordan is still the greatest player of all time, and I'm gonna give you 10 reasons of why he is. Now, before we get into that, if you haven't subscribed to the channel, make sure to do so, and if you could like this video, I greatly appreciate it. So with that being said, let's get into the 10 reasons Michael Jordan is still better than LeBron James.
Oh,
so
why he's
first
still
up, we're
better?
going to keep
Okay.
it very simple.
I thought he was just
and look at the two most important aspects of basketball, that being scoring and defense. And Michael Jordan is objectively better than LeBron James at the two biggest aspects of basketball. In Jordan's career, he averaged 30.1 points per game in the regular season, that is the most all time, 33.4 points per game in the playoffs, also the most of all time, and 33.6 points per game in the NBA Finals, once again the most.
It's different. That's different because it get better and better every time. The higher the stakes get, you know.
Most of all time.
Go shit.
And we're looking more in depth at the playoffs. Jordan had 8 games of 50 plus points, that's the most ever, 38 games of 40 plus points, also the most ever, and he never scored under 15 points in a playoff game, and he has the longest streak ever in the playoffs of double-digit scoring games. Now, in addition to that, Jordan is also the better defender, being a 9-time All-Defensive Player and a Defensive Player winner that he won the same year he won MVP, something LeBron James has yet to do. And when looking at Jordan throughout his career, even at age 35, he was a first-team All-Defensive Player. LeBron James, over the past 5 to 6 years, ever since he left Miami, has seen a steep decline on the defensive end, and he's not the same elite defender that he once was. So when looking at the two biggest aspects of basketball, scoring and defense, Michael Jordan is objectively better than LeBron James at both those things. Now, next up at number 9, we have the fact that LeBron James faced weaker competition, and for the most of his career, he was in the weak Eastern Conference with very few, if any, title contenders. Now compare that to Jordan, who played in the 90s East, arguably the toughest conference of all time. You had the Indiana Pacers, the Pistons, the Knicks, and some very good Heat, as well as Hornets teams. And when looking at Jordan and LeBron's overall careers, Jordan beat 20 50-win teams to LeBron's 19.
And that's with less seasons.
Jordan also has the better win percentage versus those teams, winning 20 out of the 27 times, compared to LeBron, who won 19 out of 30. And the same thing can be said for 60-win teams, as Jordan beat 7 to LeBron's 3, with Jordan once again having a better win percentage. Now in LeBron's defense, on average, he faced better teams in the finals, but looking at the playoffs overall, Jordan definitely faced the better teams compared to LeBron James. Now next up, reason number 8, we have the fact that Jordan had the better peak than LeBron James. And Jordan's peak was 1988 to 1993. In this 6-year period is better than any 6-year period of LeBron's career. And we look at how Jordan played in the playoffs.
Everybody's 6-year period.
34.6 points per game, 6.7 boards, 6.2 assists, 2.3 steals, 0.9 blocks, on insane 50, 35, and 83 splits. And Jordan at his absolute peak had 0 flaws in his game, and 3-point shooting was not an issue at this point in time. Also, I would say Jordan as a two-way player and all-around player was at his absolute best during this time, as he made 6 all-defensive first teams, including 1 defensive player of the year. Now, next up at number 7, we have one of the more important things when evaluating players, and that is how they play in the NBA Finals, which truly is the biggest stage, and everything is magnified. Now, when looking at this stats-wise, Jordan in the Finals averaged 33.6 points per game, 6.0 assists, 6.0 boards, on 48, 36, and 80 splits. LeBron James averaged 28.4 points per game, 10.2 boards, 7.8 assists, on 48, 35, and 73 splits. Definitely some impressive numbers from both players, but I think Jordan stats-wise has the edge over LeBron James. And also from an iconic perspective and how dominant Jordan was in the finals, winning 6 times to LeBron's 4, while also mentioning LeBron James lost 6 times to Jordan's 0 times. And if you want to look at iconic moments from both these players in the finals, Jordan has 4 of the greatest moments in NBA history. He has the layup versus the Lakers where he switched hands. He had the shrug game where he made 6 threes. He had the flu game where he had the game-winning three-pointer. And of course he had the shot over Brian Russell. LeBron James in his own right has one.
See what I'm saying?
Play,
not a push-off. That's just a little, it's a physical game at this point, especially. Hold on, let me talk about this because y'all crazy. Especially because it's a physical game on both sides of the board. This time in the NBA, they're putting your hand. They can put their hands on you on defense, right or wrong. Correct, they can. I know. Okay, so if they putting their hands on me, why can't I can slap their arm down, right? So why can't I give him a little tap on the butt and pull? No, that's the same thing. He touching me. What? So the offensive player can't use the one hand he got while he's dribbling to barely to just give him a little tap. Just give him a little tap, pull back, mid-range. Hold it up to go in. Come on. It's not no fucking push-up, man. Don't get me tight, bro.
Had more iconic moments, and he simply had the better record on the biggest stage. So, moving on to number 6, we have the fact that Jordan had a bigger impact on the game of basketball when compared to LeBron James.
Definitely
Jordan,
did.
in his time, took the torch from Magic and Bird, who had brought the NBA into its prominence, and he took it to another level in the 1990s, taking the game global, giving players numerous endorsements, and just being a great overall ambassador for the NBA. And during this time in the league, reached peaks they had never seen and that they haven't seen since. And if you want to look at how popular Jordan was in his time, I would say look at the ratings of his finals games. The 91, 92, 93, 96, 97, and 98 finals are all in the top 10 of the highest rated finals in NBA history, with the 98 finals being the highest rated of all time. And in that 98 finals, the NBA has 4 of their most watched games of all time. Now compare that resume to LeBron James, who in his time has the 2 lowest rated finals ever, that being the 07 finals and his past year in 2020. In that 2020 finals, they went 6 games. All 6 of those games were the lowest rated games in finals history. And this one stat will blow your mind. LeBron's most watched finals averaged 20.28 million viewers. That would still not be more than Jordan's lowest watched finals. So I think it's pretty obvious Jordan, from an overall perspective, had a larger impact on the game of basketball, and was simply more popular than LeBron
Everybody
James.
wanted to be like
now,
Mike,
finally
man.
getting a top 5, at number 5, we
Even
have the
if
fact
you
that
even
Jordan
know what Mike
was
did.
a much better player in a clutch
you heard about what Mike
situations.
did. You heard how they talked about Mike. So if you was like Mike, you was pretty good. You was good. You know what I'm saying?
Line, Jordan came through more times than not with some iconic game winners. Now, LeBron James, in his own right, had some great game winners and some big clutch time shots. I'm not saying LeBron isn't clutch, he's just not as clutch as one Michael Jordan. As if you look to the playoffs on game time go ahead shots in the final 24 seconds, Michael Jordan shoots 50% compared to LeBron James, who shoots 35.7%. In the last 10 seconds, Jordan shoots 46.7%, LeBron 39.1%. In the last 5 seconds, Jordan shoots 45.5%, once again to LeBron's 38.9%. So stats-wise, looking at the overall playoffs, Jordan
clutch,
better the late game time and go-ahead shots.
Clutch.
And if you look to the NBA Finals in the last 24 seconds, Jordan is 4th rate on those shots, exactly 50%, compared to LeBron James, who's 0 for 7, at a pitiful 0%. And one stat I love to look at is clutch time scoring.
Come on, bro, you just
5 minutes
do
a
it
game
third.
within 5 points. So let's look at those stats in the NBA Finals. For LeBron's finals career, he has 85 clutch time points on 30.8%.
Last video, I wanted to see this.
Jordan has 126 at 46.9%.
Last video of uncut, the uncut
So I think
video.
it's pretty obvious Jordan in the playoffs as well as the finals is the more clutch player when compared to LeBron James. Now next up at number 4, we have LeBron James and his epic playoff failures that are way worse than any of Michael Jordan's failures. And I'll start this out by saying, Jordan's career, he did fail and he did lose. But in virtually every playoff series Jordan, except for one versus the Orlando Magic, he came up big when it mattered most, and he still played very well. Even in that Orlando series, he still averaged 30 points per game despite the loss. You won't find any flat-out awful series from Jordan compared to LeBron James, who has plenty of black spots on his playoff resume. Now, the first one I have to look to is the 2011 Finals, where the Heat were big-time favorites versus the Dallas Mavericks. In this series, LeBron James averaged 17.8 points per game and was outscored by Jason Terry, a role player in the NBA, and LeBron James at the time was seen as the best player in the league. And that is something for Jordan that in the playoffs never happened, period, and it definitely never happened in the NBA Finals. Also, I would look to the 07 Finals. LeBron James once again did not play good on the biggest stage. He was very young, but still, he only averaged 22 points per game on 35% shooting. And looking at 2008 versus the Boston Celtics, in that series, LeBron averaged 26.7 points per game, 6.4 boards, 7.7 assists on pretty awful 35, 23, and 75 splits. And for the majority of that series, he was god-awful for that Cavs team. And looking at 2010 versus the Boston Celtics, LeBron James had one of the biggest and most forgotten choke jobs in NBA history, as this Cavs team was heavily favored, and they actually went up 2-1. But over the final 3 games of that series, LeBron James would average 21.3 points per game, 11.3 boards, 8.3 assists, on pitiful.
That's over the final 3 games, though. As he said, man, Uncut be trying to make it look worse than it is, man. Don't trip. You gotta listen to the terminology he be using, man. He's be trying to make it worse than it is, man. Why don't you use the whole series averages, man? Because you know it's gonna be higher than that.
Underperformed and did not show up. Now getting to the top 3 at number 3, we have the fact that LeBron James, he was never feared like Michael Jordan was in his prime. And to put it very simply, Jordan was much more dominant in his era, the 90s, than LeBron James has been in any of his eras, specifically the 2010s. And in Jordan's championship era from 91 to 98, he was 6-0 in the NBA Finals, 18-1 versus the Eastern Conference, 6-0 versus the West, 24-1 versus the NBA. He beat 9 50-win teams, 7 60-win teams, was a 4-time MVP, 6-time Finals MVP, 6-time All-Defensive First-Team player, and a 6-time scoring champ. And when Jordan was fully healthy and
that's
rested,
just different,
there was
bro.
no team, no player.
It's too much dominance, accolades, stats.
And you can go on YouTube and look up how players in his era, they absolutely feared him, and they never wanted to cross him or talk trash to him. That is something you cannot say about one LeBron James.
Check the channel, y'all. I react to so many Michael Jordan trash talk videos. Check the channel, man.
Super teams with different superstar players. And I will say LeBron James has the right to lead his teams anytime he wants after his contract is over. But when looking at how he makes his teams, how he plays pseudo GM, you can't help but realize he's really self-engineered a lot of his championship teams compared to Jordan, who never asked for another superstar teammate and never demanded any types of trades.
I mean,
looking back at the 2011 decision,
he did go and get Dennis Rodman though. So you can't say he never did that. They went and got Dennis Rodman, man. Don't do that. They went and got Dennis Rodman because they needed some rebounding, some energy, some defense, things like that, bro. So you can't say he never went to get no type of superstar, even though Dennis was past his prime, things of that nature. Still, bro. He's still valuable into the sense they need him. They don't need to do too much. Just rebound that ball, play your defense, do your thing.
That's something Jordan would have never done. He would have never gone and joined Larry Bird or Magic Johnson. He would have won the championship his way.
I don't think Jordan would never leave. I don't think Jordan would leave the Bulls,
though. The fact that Jordan never asked for a trade, never asked for good teammates, and he never played on a super team with more than one All-Star, that has to be a big factor in this debate when evaluating these two players and their overall legacies.
Now, I don't care what y'all say. That 95 to 90 or 96 to 98. That's a super team. If you ask me, one of the best teams ever. I don't see how they can not a super team in the sense that the way they came together, but a super team in how good they were. I understand. I seen y'all definitions. Okay, that's what we gonna use as a super team definition. When 3 superstar talents come together and join one team and I also saw y'all say a lot of the role players take pay cuts to just get an easy chip and things like that. Okay, I see what's going on. So yeah, it definitely wasn't a super team in that sense. But in terms of them being a all-time dominant team, that's a super team, my brothers. and sisters. You know, like
Taking number one spot of why Jordan is still better than LeBron James. It's very simple. His basketball legacy and his body of work is still better than LeBron's. And after this video, looking at all the dark spots on LeBron's resume, and the fact that Jordan never had those down moments where he underperformed, it's pretty obvious Jordan has the better overall basketball legacy, and taking into account he's also the better player. That, in my eyes, makes it pretty simple. Michael Jordan is the better overall player, he's a greater player, and he's still the GOAT for the NBA. So that right there is the end of the video. As always, thank you guys for watching, hope you enjoyed it. I'll see you guys next time.
Last into this one, y'all. Let me know how y'all feel about this, man. Like I said before, it wasn't a super team in the sense of what the super team means today, but they are a super team in the sense of how good they were, man. Let me know how y'all feel about that. All links in the description. Make sure you click on the last reaction on your screen right now. Turn on post notifications, and I'm out of here, my brothers and sisters. Oh, I'm touching shit.